Thatcher Langford's hands went numb on the steering wheel. The traffic light at King and Calhoun had been red for maybe 10 seconds. 20. He didn't know. Couldn't process time when the woman crossing the street, the woman with her hand curved protectively over a belly that couldn't be hidden anymore, was his ex-wife. Imani. 6 months pregnant. He'd signed papers in May that said she'd terminated in March. She'd told him herself. Said she'd handled it. He'd written the check for the procedure he didn't want her to go through alone. She'd torn it up in his face. The baby was gone. Their marriage was gone. Everything was gone. Except she was right there. Alive and whole and carrying a child that couldn't possibly exist. The light turned green. Someone honked. Thatcher couldn't move. She didn't look his way. Just kept walking, one hand on her belly, the other gripping a canvas bag, her head high like she hadn't just detonated his entire reality. She lied. The thought came cold and sharp. Or I did. Family, welcome back to our channel, where we bring you emotional stories of love. Because in truth, love and death cannot be escaped. No one can say when, how, or where. It's never too early or too late. If you're new to this channel, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification button right now so you don't miss what happens next. And if you're one of our returning viewers, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Now, stay with us to the end of this story. Leave a comment with your thoughts and like this video. Let's continue. Thatcher sat in his car for 3 full blocks after the light changed. Other drivers went around him, a few shouting things he didn't hear. His hands stayed locked on the wheel, knuckles bone white, while his brain tried to make sense of what his eyes had seen. Imani Brooks, Imani Langford for 4 years, though she'd gone back to Brooks the moment the ink dried, had been 6 months pregnant. Maybe more. He wasn't great with those details, but the curve of her belly had been unmistakable. Undeniable. Real. March. She'd told him in March. Stood in their kitchen, his kitchen now, just his, and said she couldn't do this. Couldn't bring a baby into the disaster their marriage had become. He'd believed her. Why wouldn't he? She'd looked him dead in the eye and said, "I'll handle it." 2 weeks later, she'd filed for divorce. May, the papers were final. October, she was visibly, beautifully, impossibly pregnant. His phone buzzed in the cup holder. Marcus. Probably wondering where he was. They had a meeting in 20 minutes, another merger negotiation session that would determine whether Langford Automation Systems became a legacy or a cautionary tale. 8 months of this. 8 months of 16-hour days and sleeping in his office and pretending the empty house didn't echo like a tomb. 8 months since everything had fallen apart. He looked at the phone. Let it ring out. Then he turned the car around. Imani's hands were shaking by the time she got back to her car. She'd seen him. Of course she had. You didn't miss a white Aston Martin idling at a green light in downtown Charleston, and you definitely didn't miss the man inside it looking at you like you'd risen from the dead. 5 months. She'd made it 5 months without running into him. Charleston wasn't that small. 200,000 people, plenty of space to avoid one tech billionaire with a god complex and a mother who could freeze hell with a look. But her luck had just run out on King Street at 4 in the afternoon, and now Thatcher knew. She sat in her beat-up Honda, 12 years old, bought used after the divorce because pride was expensive and she'd left the marriage with exactly what she brought into it, nothing, and forced herself to breathe. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. The way her therapist had taught her. Her phone lit up. Sloan. You good? Thought you were grabbing coffee and coming back. Imani stared at the message. Her best friend was at the cottage right now, probably sorting through the donated baby clothes they'd picked up from the church donation center that morning. Sloan had been her lifeline these past months. The only person who knew the whole truth. She typed back, ran into tea, heading home now. 3 dots immediately. Then, what? Call me. Imani locked the phone and started driving. Thatcher's mother lived in the same house she'd been born in, a historical landmark on Battery Street with a view of the harbor and a gate that cost more than most people's cars. He hadn't been here since the divorce. Hadn't wanted to see the disappointment in Victoria Langford's face, the quiet satisfaction that she'd been right about Imani all along. But if anyone knew what had really happened in March, it was her. The housekeeper let him in without question. His mother was in the sunroom, because of course she was. Victoria Langford, 67 and terrifying, taking her afternoon tea like the world still ran on social calendars and good breeding. Thatcher. She didn't look up from her cup. This is unexpected. Did you know? His voice came out rough. He hadn't realized how tight his throat was. Now she looked. Cool gray eyes that had intimidated senators and CEOs. Did I know what, darling? Imani. The baby. Did you know she didn't? He couldn't say it. Couldn't form the words. Something flickered across his mother's face. Not guilt. Victoria Langford didn't do guilt. But something close to acknowledgement. Sit down, Thatcher. Answer the question. Sit down. He sat. Not because he wanted to. Because his legs suddenly wouldn't hold him. Victoria set down her teacup with the precise care she applied to everything. What did you see? Her. Today. Downtown. He swallowed hard. She's pregnant, Mother. Very pregnant. Which means she didn't. I'm aware. The room tilted. You knew. I suspected. Victoria's face remained perfectly composed. She came to see me in March. Before she told you about the pregnancy. We had a conversation. What kind of conversation? His mother folded her hands. The kind where I explained certain realities to her. The merger was at a critical stage. The board was already skeptical of your judgment after you married a non-profit worker with no family connections. A pregnancy, a baby, the distraction of a new family, it would have destroyed everything you'd worked for. Thatcher couldn't breathe. What did you say to her? I gave her a choice. The company or the child. You or the baby. Victoria's voice didn't waver. I told her that if she truly loved you, she'd protect your future. And she did. She didn't terminate. The words felt like glass in his throat. She lied to me. Filed for divorce. Disappeared. All to, what? Protect me. To protect what you'd built. Yes. His mother picked up her tea again. I told her that staying pregnant would cost you everything. Your company. Your reputation. The respect of everyone who mattered. She made her choice. That wasn't her choice to make. He was on his feet now, everything in him shaking. You had no right. I had every right. I'm your mother. And that girl was going to ruin you. That girl is my wife. Was. The divorce is final, Thatcher. It's done. He stared at her. This woman who'd raised him, who'd taught him about legacy and responsibility and the weight of the Langford name, who'd apparently destroyed his marriage to save his company. She's carrying my child. A complication. But one that can be managed. Financially, I assume she'll be reasonable. Get out. Victoria blinked. Excuse me. This is my house. My family's house. And you're not welcome here anymore. His voice was shaking but steady. Get out. For the first time in his life, he saw his mother look uncertain. Thatcher, don't be dramatic. You manipulated the woman I love into giving up our child to protect a business deal. You made her think she had to choose. And then you let me believe. He couldn't finish. Couldn't say what he believed about Imani these past months. The resentment he'd carried. The anger. All of it based on a lie. I need you to leave. Now. Victoria stood slowly, gathering her composure like armor. You're making a mistake. Yeah. I made one 8 months ago when I didn't fight for her. I'm not making it again. She left without another word. The click of her heels on the hardwood faded, then the front door closed. Thatcher stood alone in the sunroom and finally let himself fall apart. Family, if you watched this story up to this point, it means it moved you. Leave your thoughts and tell me where you are watching from in the comment, and make sure to like and hit the subscribe button if you haven't. Smash the hype button now if you found value in this content, it really helps my channel. The cottage on Folly Beach wasn't much. 1 bedroom, a kitchen barely big enough to turn around in, a living room with windows that looked out at the ocean if you stood on your toes and craned your neck. But it was hers. Paid for with money she'd earned writing grants for non-profits who couldn't afford full-time staff. Furnished with thrift store finds and hand-me-downs from Sloane's various redecorating phases. Nothing like the mansion on Battery Street where she'd lived for 4 years. Everything like home. Sloane was waiting on the porch when Imani pulled up, arms crossed, face set in that expression that meant she was ready to fight someone. "Tell me everything." Imani grabbed her bag from the passenger seat. Her hands had stopped shaking somewhere around the West Ashley Bridge, but her chest still felt tight. "Not much to tell. I was crossing King Street. He was at the light. He saw me. That's it." "That's it?" "Imani, he saw you. Like saw you." "I'm aware." She unlocked the door, stepped into the small living room that smelled like the lavender candles Sloane insisted on burning. Baby clothes were sorted into piles on the couch, newborn, 0 to 3 months, 3 to 6 months. All second-hand. All clean and folded with care. Sloane followed her inside. "What are you gonna do?" "Nothing. What can I do?" Imani set her bag down, moved to the kitchen, filled a glass with water she didn't want. Just needed something to do with her hands. "The divorce is final. I made my choice." A choice his which of a mother forced you into. She didn't force anything. The lie tasted familiar now. She'd been telling it for months. She just made the situation clear. "She manipulated you." "She told me the truth." Imani drank the water, stared out the window at the slice of ocean visible between the neighboring houses. The merger was everything to him. His whole company. If the board thought he was distracted, unfocused, dealing with a new baby, they would have pulled out. $2 billion. Sloane. His entire legacy. "So what? You were supposed to just disappear." "I was supposed to protect him." Her hand went to her belly without thinking. 6 months now. The baby was moving more these days, little flutters that felt like butterflies. That's what you do when you love someone. Sloane made a sound somewhere between a laugh and a sob. "No, babe. When you love someone, you fight for them. You tell them the truth. You don't let some controlling monster convince you that a baby is a problem to be solved." Imani turned to face her friend. Sloane Mitchell, 34, covered in tattoos. Her corporate job made her hide, fierce and loyal, and currently looking at Imani like she wanted to shake sense into her. "I couldn't tell him," Imani said quietly. "You didn't see his face when I told him I was pregnant. He looked terrified. Not happy. Not excited. Just scared. Like I'd handed him a bomb. Because his mother had already poisoned the well. You know that, right? Victoria got to him first." "Maybe. Probably." Imani had replayed that conversation 1,000 times. Thatcher coming home late, finding her in the kitchen with the pregnancy test still in her hand. The way his whole body had gone rigid. "We need to talk about this," he'd said. Not congratulations. Not even asking if she was okay. Just, "We need to talk." 2 days later, Victoria had invited her to lunch. "The timing is unfortunate," Victoria had said over untouched salads at a restaurant too expensive to have prices on the menu. "The merger is at a delicate stage. The board already questions Thatcher's judgment. They see his marriage to you as impulsive. Sentimental. If they discover you're pregnant now, when he should be focused entirely on the company." She'd trailed off. "Let the implications hang there. What are you asking me to do?" Imani had kept her voice steady. "I'm not asking anything, dear. I'm simply pointing out reality. Thatcher has worked his entire life to build Langford Automation into something that matters. This merger will secure that legacy. But if he's perceived as distracted, as choosing personal matters over business." Victoria had taken a delicate sip of water. "The board will move on. Find someone else. And everything he's sacrificed will be for nothing. He wants this baby." Imani had said it like a prayer. Does he? Or does he want it? Victoria's smile had been kind. Almost gentle. "You know him, Imani. You know how he is with pressure, with expectations. He'll try to make it work because he's a good man. But it will destroy him. The stress, the guilt, the constant pull between what he wants and what he needs to do. Is that the life you want for him? You're asking me to terminate. I'm asking you to consider what's best for everyone, including that child." Victoria had leaned forward. What kind of life would it be, growing up with a father who resents the timing of your existence. Who looks at you and sees everything he lost. The words had landed like punches. But if you can't. Victoria had continued, if you feel you must continue the pregnancy, then perhaps distance would be better. For everyone. Let Thatcher focus on what he's meant to do. Raise your child without the complications of a marriage that was always going to be difficult. Imani had left that lunch feeling like she'd been hollowed out. 3 days later, she'd told Thatcher she was handling it. Let him believe she meant termination. Filed for divorce before he could ask questions. Ran. Hey. Sloane's voice pulled her back to the present. Where'd you go? Nowhere good. Imani managed a smile. I'm fine. He saw me. So what? Doesn't change anything. It changes everything and you know it. Before Imani could answer, headlights swept across the front windows. A car pulling into the small driveway. An expensive car from the sound of the engine. Her heart stopped. Please tell me that's not. Sloane moved to the window, looked out, swore softly. It's him. Imani's hand went to her belly again. Protective. Automatic. You don't have to let him in, Sloane said. But she did. They both knew it. The knock came 30 seconds later. Firm. Controlled. So perfectly Thatcher it hurt. Imani opened the door. He looked like he'd been through a storm. Hair disheveled like he'd been running his hands through it. Tie loosened. Eyes red-rimmed in a way that made her chest ache because Thatcher Langford didn't cry. Didn't break. Didn't show weakness. Except he was breaking right there on her front porch. Imani. Her name came out rough. Broken. She gripped the doorframe. How did you find me? Marcus. He's been keeping tabs. Making sure you were safe. His eyes dropped to her belly, and something in his face just shattered. You didn't terminate. It wasn't a question, but she answered anyway. No. You lied to me. Yes. Why? Behind her, Sloane cleared her throat. I'm gonna be in the bedroom. Yell if you need me to call the cops or whatever. Imani barely heard her leave. Just stood there, face to face with a man she'd loved enough to destroy her own happiness for. Can I come in? Thatcher asked. Every instinct screamed no. Protect yourself. Protect the baby. Don't let him close enough to hurt you again. But she stepped aside. He walked into her small living room and looked so out of place it was almost funny. Thatcher Langford, in his custom suit that probably cost more than her monthly rent, surrounded by second-hand furniture and baby clothes sorted into careful piles. His eyes caught on the clothes. Lingered. It's a girl, Imani heard herself say. In case you were wondering. His breath hitched. Actual sound. Like she'd punched him. I went to see my mother, he said after a moment. She told me about your conversation. In March. Imani's stomach dropped. Thatcher. She told me what she said to you. How she made you think you had to choose between me and our baby. He turned to face her, and the expression on his face was something she'd never seen before. Raw. Devastated. Furious. She manipulated you. And I let it happen. You didn't know. I should have known. Should have fought harder when you said you were handling it. Should have asked what you really wanted instead of assuming. His hands clenched at his sides. I wrote you a check, Imani. For the procedure. Like it was a car repair. Like our child was a problem to be solved with money. You thought that's what I wanted. Because I didn't ask. I just assumed. Made it easy for you to lie because I was too much of a coward to have the real conversation. He stepped closer. Close enough that she could smell his cologne, see the shadow of stubble on his jaw. Tell me the truth. Right now. Why did you really file for divorce? Her throat closed. It doesn't matter. It's the only thing that matters. The merger. Your company. Your whole future. Victoria was right, if the board thought you were distracted. I don't care about the board. You did. You do. That company is everything to you. No. His voice dropped. Intense. You were everything to me. You and, his eyes went to her belly again. God, Imani. We made a baby. We created a life. And you carried that alone for 6 months because my mother convinced you I'd choose business over family. Wouldn't you have? The question burst out before she could stop it. Be honest, Thatcher. If I told you the truth in March, that I wanted to keep the baby, that I needed you to choose us over the merger, what would you have done? The silence stretched between them. And in that silence, Imani had her answer. That's what I thought. She wrapped her arms around herself. You can go now. I would have chosen wrong, he said quietly. In March, scared and pressured and listening to my mother. I would have chosen the company. You're right. He took another step closer. But I would have regretted it every day for the rest of my life. And eventually, I would have realized that I'd traded everything that mattered for something that didn't matter at all. The merger closes in 3 weeks. Congratulations. We'll be worth $2.3 billion. I'll be one of the richest men in South Carolina. His laugh was bitter. And I'll still be the idiot who lost his wife because he couldn't see what was right in front of him. Imani's eyes burned. Don't do this. Do what? Make this harder than it already is. The divorce is final. We signed papers. It's done. Papers can be unsigned. Mistakes can be fixed. Not this one. Why not? He was close now. Close enough to touch. Tell me you don't love me anymore. Tell me you're happy without me. Tell me this baby doesn't deserve to know her father. Tell me any of that and I'll walk out that door right now. Thatcher. I love you. The words came out fierce. Certain. I loved you when we met at that stupid charity gala 5 years ago, and you called my company's automation ethics into question in front of half of Charleston's elite. I loved you when you wore jeans to our wedding because you said marriage wasn't about the dress. I loved you every day of our marriage, even when I was too stupid to show it properly. And I love you now, standing here 6 months pregnant with our daughter, still trying to protect me from consequences I deserve to face. A tear slipped down her cheek. Then another. I went to your mother's house, he continued. Told her to get out. To never contact me again unless she's ready to apologize to you for what she did. You didn't. I did. Because she doesn't get to do that. Doesn't get to manipulate the woman I love and walk away like it was just business. His hand lifted, hesitated, then gently touched her face. His thumb caught a tear. Let me fix this. Please. Let me prove I can choose right this time. Imani closed her eyes. Felt the warmth of his hand, the familiar smell of him, the pull that had always existed between them. It's not that simple. It is exactly that simple. I love you. You love me. We're having a baby. Everything else is just noise. Your company will survive without me being CEO. Or it won't. Either way, I don't care anymore. She opened her eyes. Searched his face. You're just saying that because you're scared and guilty, Anne. I'm saying it because it's true. I spent 8 months in hell, Imani. Working 20-hour days so I wouldn't have to go home to that empty house and remember you in every room. Hating you for something you never even did. Dying inside a little more every day. His other hand came up to cup her face. I don't want the company if it costs me you. I don't want any of it without you. The baby moved. A solid kick right against Imani's ribs. Like she was weighing in on the conversation. Thatcher's eyes widened. Was that? Yeah. Imani managed a watery laugh. She's active tonight. Can I? He gestured to her belly, uncertain in a way that was so unlike him it broke her heart a little more. She took his hand. Placed it where the baby was moving. They stood like that in her small living room, his hand on her belly, both of them barely breathing, waiting. Then the baby kicked again. Right against his palm. Thatcher made a sound like his soul was being pulled out through his chest. That's our daughter, Imani whispered. Our daughter. He said it like a prayer. Like a promise. Then his eyes met hers, and she saw everything there. The love. The regret. The desperate hope. Tell me it's not too late. Please, Imani. Tell me I can fix this. She should say no. Should protect herself. Should remember all the reasons she'd left. But God, she was so tired of being strong alone. I don't know if we can go back, she said softly. Then we go forward. We start over. However you need it to happen. His hand was still on her belly, feeling their daughter move. Just don't shut me out. Don't make me miss any more of this. Thatcher. I know I don't deserve it. I know I failed you. But I'm asking anyway. His voice cracked. Let me be here. Let me be a father. Let me prove that I can choose right this time. The baby kicked again. And Imani, heart full of fear and hope and love she tried so hard to bury, finally nodded. Okay, she whispered. Okay. The thing about letting Thatcher Langford back into her life, Imani discovered, was that he didn't do anything halfway. 3 days after their conversation on her porch, he'd shown up with a pregnancy book. 3 of them, actually, color-coded with sticky notes marking sections he had questions about. A week after that, he'd appeared at her OB appointment without being invited, looking nervous and out of place in the waiting room full of pregnant women and their partners, holding a notebook like he was attending a board meeting. Now, 14 days into whatever this fragile thing between them was, he was sitting on her couch assembling a crib he'd had delivered that morning over her protests. You don't have to do this, Imani said for the 3rd time. Instructions say 2 people. You're pregnant. I'm here. He didn't look up from the manual, studying it with the same intensity he probably applied to merger documents. Unless you want to call Sloan. Sloan has a real job. Unlike some people who apparently can ignore their billion-dollar company for days at a time. That made him look up. A slight smile played at his mouth. Marcus is handling things. That's what a good COO does. The merger closes in what, 10 days? 9. But who's counting? He went back to sorting screws into careful piles. I've done everything I can do. Now it's just paperwork and signatures. Imani settled into the armchair across from him, her laptop balanced on the arm. She was supposed to be working on a grant proposal for a homeless shelter in North Charleston, but she kept getting distracted by the sight of Thatcher Langford in jeans and a t-shirt, surrounded by crib parts, actually reading instructions. It was disconcerting. The Thatcher she'd been married to never read instructions. Never assembled anything. Had people for that. What? He asked without looking up. Nothing. You're staring. I'm just trying to figure out who you are and what you did with my ex-husband. Now he did look up. Fully. Those blue eyes that had always seen too much. I'm trying to be the man you needed me to be 8 months ago. Little late, but... He shrugged. Better than never, I hope. Her chest tightened. Thatcher. Can I ask you something? He set down the instructions. When did you know that you were going to keep the baby no matter what I said? Imani's hand went to her belly. Automatic reflex now. The moment I saw the positive test. Before that, even. I felt different. Knew something had changed. And when it was confirmed. She paused, searching for the right words. I've never been sure of anything faster in my life. You didn't tell me right away. No. I waited 3 days. Tried to figure out how to say it. We were so busy with the merger prep, and you were stressed, and I just... She looked down at her laptop. I wanted to find the perfect moment. When you weren't exhausted or distracted. When I could see your real reaction. And then when you did tell me, I gave you every reason to think I didn't want her. You were scared. That's normal. Being scared is normal. Letting my fear make you think you had to choose between me and our child? That's unforgivable. He turned back to the crib, but his hands had stilled. I've been thinking about that day a lot. What I should have said. How I should have reacted. Thatcher, we can't change the past. No. But I can acknowledge where I failed. He picked up 2 pieces of the crib, examining how they fit together. I should have told you I was terrified, but that we'd figure it out together. Should have said that the timing was complicated, but that didn't make it unwanted. Should have held you and celebrated instead of immediately going into crisis mode. Imani watched him work for a moment. The careful way he aligned the pieces, checking and rechecking before tightening anything. So different from how he usually operated, making quick decisions, trusting his instincts, moving fast. My mother called yesterday, he said quietly. Her stomach clenched. What did she want? To apologize, apparently. Though it sounded more like she was sorry, I was angry than sorry for what she actually did. He fitted another piece into place. I told her we'd talk when she was ready to apologize to you. She hung up. She's your mother, Thatcher. I don't want to be the reason you two aren't speaking. You're not the reason. Her choices are the reason. He looked at her then, expression serious. She manipulated you when you were vulnerable. Convinced you that loving me meant sacrificing everything. That's not something I can just forgive because we share DNA. She thought she was protecting you. By destroying my marriage? By taking away my chance to be there for my daughter from the beginning. He shook his head. No. That wasn't protection. That was control. And I'm done being controlled. The baby kicked, a rolling movement that Imani had started to recognize as her daughter's way of saying she was listening. She put her hand where the movement was strongest. Thatcher's eyes tracked the motion. Can I? She nodded. He crossed to her chair, knelt beside it, placed his hand where hers had been. The baby responded immediately, a solid kick right against his palm. She's strong, he said softly. Takes after her father. God, I hope not. I hope she takes after you. Your kindness. Your strength. Your ability to do the right thing even when it costs you everything. His hand stayed on her belly, feeling their daughter move. Have you thought about names? Some. Nothing final. She'd made lists. Crossed them out. Started over. Couldn't commit to anything because giving the baby a name made it all too real. Made the loneliness sharper. Have you? I have no idea how to name a human being. What if we pick wrong and she hates it forever? Imani laughed. Actually laughed. That's your biggest fear right now? That our daughter won't like her name. I have a lot of fears right now. That's just one of them. His eyes met hers. Mostly I'm afraid you're going to wake up one day and realize you were better off without me. That letting me back in was a mistake. Thatcher. I know you haven't forgiven me. I'm not asking you to. Not yet. His hand was still on her belly, their daughter still moving beneath his palm. I just need you to know that I'm not going anywhere. Whether you take me back or not, whether we figure out how to be a family or just figure out how to co-parent. I'm here. For both of you. Always. The sincerity in his voice made her throat tight. This man. This complicated, brilliant, frustrating man who'd broken her heart and was now kneeling beside her chair like he was praying. I'm scared too, she admitted. That you'll wake up and realize the company was more important. That you resent us for complicating your life. That your mother was right about me not being enough. Stop. The word came firm. My mother wasn't right about anything. And you are everything. Everything that matters, anyway. You say that now. But when the merger is done and reality sets in and you're dealing with diapers and midnight feedings and a crying baby, I'll still be grateful for every moment. Even the hard ones. He shifted so he was facing her fully, both hands on her belly now. I've had 6 months of success without you, Imani. 6 months of closing deals and impressing boards and building an empire. And I've never been more miserable in my life. I'd trade all of it, every dollar, every achievement, every bit of it, for one more day of you leaving coffee cups all over the house and stealing my hoodies and arguing with me about whether automation will save humanity or doom it. She blinked back tears. Damn hormones. I never stole your hoodies. You stole at least 4. I have a list. That's very on-brand for you. Having a list. I have a lot of lists now. Baby supplies we'll need. Pediatricians to interview. Child-proofing protocols. His smile was soft. Vulnerable. I'm trying, Imani. To be ready. To be the partner you deserve and the father she deserves. You don't have to be perfect. Good. Because I'm going to mess up. A lot. I have no idea what I'm doing. His thumb traced a small circle on her belly. But I want to figure it out. With you. If you'll let me. The baby kicked again, and they both felt it. A shared moment. A tiny person reminding them she was there, waiting, depending on them to figure this out. Okay, Imani said softly. Okay. Okay, we'll figure it out. Together. She covered his hands with hers. But Thatcher, I need you to understand something. I can't go through this again. Can't have you choose work over us when things get hard. If we're doing this, really doing this, then you have to be all in. I am. I swear to you, I am. Your mother is not part of this equation unless she can respect you and our daughter. Non-negotiable. The company will be fine. Marcus can run things. I can step back. Take paternity leave. Whatever we need. He squeezed her hands gently. I'm serious, Imani. You and our baby come first. Before business, before family politics, before everything. I should have made that clear 8 months ago. I'm making it clear now. She searched his face, looking for doubt, for hesitation. Found none. I loved you enough to let you go, she said quietly. To sacrifice what I wanted because I thought it was best for you. Don't make me regret that choice by not being the man you're promising to be right now. I won't. I promise you I won't. He leaned forward, pressed his forehead to hers. Close enough that she could feel his breath. Let me love you the way you deserved to be loved all along. Please. And there, in her small living room with an unassembled crib scattered across the floor and their daughter moving between them, Imani let herself hope. Let herself believe that maybe, just maybe, they could build something better than what they'd lost. We should probably finish that crib, she whispered. Probably. But he didn't move. Just stayed there, forehead to hers, hands on her belly. In a minute. Thatcher. Imani. The instructions say it takes 2 hours. You've been here for 4. That made him laugh. Pull back enough to look at her properly. Are you critiquing my assembly skills? I'm just saying, for a tech genius, you're surprisingly bad at following directions. I'm taking my time. Making sure everything is safe and secure. You've checked that bolt 6 times. And I'll check it 6 more. This is for our daughter. It has to be perfect. Our daughter. He kept saying it. Like he was making up for lost time with every utterance. Imani's phone buzzed on the side table. She glanced at it. Sloan. How's it going with Prince Charming? Do I need to come rescue you? She typed back, we're building furniture. Send help if I'm not responsive in an hour. He might have trapped us in an IKEA nightmare. 3 dots. Then, he's really trying, isn't he? Yeah. He really is. Good. You deserve that. Both of you do. Imani set the phone down, looked at Thatcher, who had gone back to the crib with renewed determination. What? He asked, noticing her staring again. Nothing. Just, thank you. For what? For showing up. For trying. For wanting to be here. She paused. For making me believe we might actually have a chance. He set down the screwdriver, came back to her chair, crouched beside her again. We have more than a chance. We have each other. We have her. His hand found her belly again. And that's everything. The baby kicked. And for the first time in 6 months, Imani let herself fully believe him. The merger closed on a Tuesday. Imani knew because Thatcher called her at 2:47 p.m. from the conference room where he'd just signed away controlling interest in Langford Automation Systems for $2.3 billion. His voice was flat. Distant. Like he was reporting the weather. It's done, he said. She was at her kitchen table, laptop open, half-finished grant proposal staring back at her. Congratulations. Yeah, thanks. A pause. Background noise, voices, champagne corks, celebration she could picture perfectly. Listen, they're doing this whole thing here. Press conference. Dinner. The board wants me to stay, make appearances, smile for photos. Her stomach sank. Here it comes. The moment where reality crashes back in and she remembers why she left. I understand, she managed. I'm telling them no. She blinked. What? I'm leaving. Right now. Marcus can handle the press. The board can celebrate without me. More sounds of movement. A door closing. Sudden quiet. I want to be with you. If that's okay. Thatcher, this is the biggest deal of your career. You should be there. The biggest deal of my life is 7 months pregnant and hopefully willing to have dinner with me tonight. His voice softened. Unless you had other plans? She looked around her small kitchen. At the laptop. The stack of bills she'd been ignoring. The prenatal vitamins on the counter next to a half-empty jar of pickles. Her current craving was embarrassing and relentless. No plans, she said quietly. Good. I'll pick you up at 6. We're something comfortable. Where are we going? You'll see. He hung up before she could protest. Sloane called 30 seconds later. Did he just blow off his own merger celebration to take you on a date? How do you know about that? It's all over the news. Langford closes historic deal. There's literally a photo of him walking out of the building while everyone else is popping champagne. Twitter is having a field day. Imani pulled up her browser. Sure enough, 3 different news sites had already posted about it. One headline read, "Tech billionaire leaves his own party. Where's Thatcher Langford going in such a hurry?" If they only knew. You're smiling, Sloane said. I can hear it in your voice. I'm not smiling. You absolutely are. And you should be. He just chose you over the biggest moment of his professional life. He shouldn't have. It's not healthy. This kind of grand gesture is exactly what you need to see from him. Stop overthinking it and just let the man take you to dinner. Imani touched her belly. 7 months now. The baby was running out of room, her movements less fluttery and more like she was rearranging furniture in there. What if this is just guilt? What if he's trying so hard because he feels obligated and once the baby comes? Then you deal with it when it happens. But Imani. Sloane's voice gentled. I've known you for 8 years. I watched you fall in love with him. Watched you marry him. Watched you break your own heart to protect his. And I've never seen him look at you the way he does now. Like you're the only thing in the world that matters. You've seen him exactly twice since we separated. Twice was enough. Trust me on this. The man is gone for you. Completely, devastatingly gone. After they hung up, Imani sat at her kitchen table for a long time, staring at the news articles about the merger, the photos of Thatcher walking away from his celebration. She'd spent 8 months believing she'd done the right thing. Believing that loving him meant letting him go, protecting his legacy, sacrificing their family for his success. But he'd just walked away from all of it. For her. He showed up at exactly 6, dressed down in dark jeans and a navy sweater that made his eyes even more blue than usual. No tie. No suit. Just Thatcher, holding flowers, wildflowers, her favorite, not the expensive arranged bouquets his mother always preferred. You remembered, she said, taking them. I remember everything about you. He waited while she put them in water, then offered his hand. Ready? You still haven't told me where we're going. That's because it's a surprise. You hate surprises. I know. So why are we doing this? Because you also secretly love them when they're done right. He smiled. Trust me. She looked at his hand. Took it. Against my better judgment. The drive took 40 minutes, heading north out of Charleston into the low country. Spanish moss dripped from live oaks lining the road. The sun was setting, painting everything gold and amber. Thatcher kept glancing at her, like he was checking to make sure she was still there, still real. You're staring, she said. Can you blame me? 6 months ago, I thought I'd lost you forever. Now you're here in my car, carrying our daughter. His hand found hers on the center console. I'm allowed to stare. Where are we going? Patience. I'm 7 months pregnant. Patience is not my strong suit right now. He laughed. Actually laughed. The sound filled the car, warm and genuine, and Imani realized she'd missed that sound more than she'd let herself acknowledge. They turned off the main road onto a smaller one, then onto a private drive marked only by a small wooden sign, Magnolia Haven, private property. The house appeared through the trees like something out of a dream. Not massive, nothing like the Battery Street mansion or the other plantation homes scattered through the low country. This was smaller. Intimate. A two-story cottage with wraparound porches and floor-to-ceiling windows that glowed with warm light. Gardens sprawled around it, slightly wild but beautiful. A dock stretched into a small creek that wound through the property. Thatcher parked, came around to open her door, helped her out with a hand on her lower back. "What is this place?" she asked. "Ours. If you want it." Her heart stopped. "What?" "I bought it 3 weeks ago. The day after you let me back in." He gestured to the house. "It's 30 minutes from the city. Quiet. Safe. Room for a family. There's a dock for fishing, gardens that need work, enough space for you to have an office and the baby to have a nursery and us to have whatever we need." "Thatcher. I know it's presumptuous. I know we haven't talked about living together or what happens after the baby comes. But I needed you to see it. To know that I'm serious about building a life with you." He turned to face her fully. "This isn't about grand gestures or trying to buy your forgiveness. This is about showing you that I'm thinking about our future. Really thinking about it. Not in some abstract way, but in concrete terms. Like where our daughter will take her first steps. Where we'll have family dinners. Where we'll build the life we should have had all along." Imani couldn't breathe. Couldn't process what he was saying. "You bought a house." "I bought our house. Maybe. If you want it." He looked uncertain now. Vulnerable. "If it's too much, if you're not ready, we can sell it. Or I can keep it as an investment. But I wanted you to see what I'm imagining when I think about us. This. Not the mansion downtown with my mother's ghost in every room. Something new. Something that's just ours." The baby moved, a long rolling motion that pressed against Imani's ribs. "Can I see inside?" she heard herself ask. His whole face lit up. "Yeah. Yes. Come on." He led her up the porch steps, unlocked the front door, and suddenly Imani was standing in the most beautiful space she'd ever seen. Hardwood floors. Exposed beams. A fireplace with built-in bookshelves on either side. Windows everywhere, flooding the space with the last golden light of sunset. But it was the small things that broke her. The coffee maker on the kitchen counter, the exact model she'd had at the Battery Street house. The throw blanket draped over the couch in the teal color she loved. The framed photo on the mantel of the two of them from their wedding day, both of them laughing at something off camera, completely unposed and perfectly happy. "You kept that picture," she whispered. "I kept all the pictures. Couldn't throw them away." He stood behind her, not touching but close. "The furniture's mostly new. I didn't want to bring stuff from the mansion. Too many memories. But I tried to remember what you liked. What made you comfortable." She walked through the first floor in a daze. The kitchen with its big windows overlooking the garden. The dining room that opened onto the porch. The office space that would be perfect for her work. The downstairs bedroom suite that could be for guests or... "I thought your mom might want to stay sometimes," Thatcher said quietly. "After the baby comes. If she wants to visit. Help out." Imani turned to stare at him. "You're thinking about my mother?" "Of course. She's important to you. And she's going to be our daughter's grandmother." He shifted his weight. "I know I screwed up with my own family. Let my mother drive a wedge between us. I don't want to make that mistake again. If your mom wants to be involved, if she wants to come stay and help, I want her to feel welcome." "Thatcher. There's more. Upstairs." He offered his hand again. The stairs led to 3 bedrooms. The master was at the end of the hall, spacious and bright with French doors opening onto a balcony that overlooked the creek. The second bedroom was set up as another office, for me, Thatcher said. So I can work from home more. Be around. But it was the third bedroom that made Imani's knees weak. A nursery. Fully furnished. The crib he'd spent 4 hours assembling at her cottage was here, in the corner by the window. A rocking chair sat nearby, cushioned in soft gray fabric. A changing table stocked with supplies. A bookshelf already filled with children's books. Soft rugs on the floor. Blackout curtains that would keep the room dark for naps. Everything chosen with care. Everything ready. On the wall above the crib, someone had painted a mural. A garden scene with flowers and butterflies and birds, all in soft watercolors that seemed to glow in the evening light. "Sloane did it," Thatcher said quietly. I hired her last week. Told her what I wanted, something beautiful and peaceful. Something our daughter would love to look at. She came up with this. Imani couldn't speak. Could barely breathe. Just stared at the room that Thatcher had created for their baby. For their family. If you hate it, we can change everything, he said quickly. I know I should have asked your input, but I wanted it to be a surprise, and Sloane said you'd mentioned these colors once, so I just... She turned and kissed him. Cut off his rambling with her mouth on his, her hands in his hair, 7 months of missing him and loving him and trying not to love him crashing through every wall she'd built. He froze for half a second. Then his arms came around her, careful of her belly, always so careful now, and he kissed her back like he was drowning and she was air. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, his forehead dropped to hers. Does this mean you like it? He whispered. I love it. I love all of it. Her voice cracked. You did this for us. I'd do anything for you. For both of you. His hand found her belly, their daughter moving beneath his palm. I meant what I said before. You're everything. This, he gestured to the house around them, this is just me trying to prove it. You don't have to prove anything. Yes, I do. I have 8 months of failures to make up for. This is just the start. He pulled back enough to look at her properly. Move in with me. Both of you. Let me take care of you. Let me be there for the late-night cravings and the doctor's appointments and the moments when you can't sleep because she's doing gymnastics in there. Let me be the partner I should have been from the beginning. Thatcher, it's too fast. We just started talking again 3 weeks ago. We were married for 4 years before that. We've known each other for 5. This isn't fast. This is us finally getting back what we should never have lost. His hands cupped her face. But if you need more time, I understand. The house will be here. I'll be here. Waiting as long as it takes. Imani closed her eyes. Felt the baby move. Felt Thatcher's hands on her face, gentle and sure. Felt the pull between what was safe and what was right. I'm scared, she admitted. Me too. What if it doesn't work? What if we hurt each other again? Then we figure it out. Together this time. No more running. No more letting other people make decisions for us. He kissed her forehead. I love you, Imani. I've loved you since you told me my company's AI was ethically questionable at best, and I realized I'd met my match. I'm going to keep loving you whether you move in here tomorrow or make me wait 6 months. But I really hope you don't make me wait 6 months. She opened her eyes. Found him smiling at her. That smile that had captured her heart 5 years ago at a charity gala where she'd been working and he'd been a guest speaker. My lease is up in 2 weeks, she heard herself say. His smile widened. That's very convenient timing. I'll need help moving. I'll hire movers. The best movers. You won't have to lift a finger. And I want my mother to visit whenever she wants. No questions asked. Already planned on it. And Sloane gets guest room priority. Obviously. And if your mother wants to be part of this family, she apologizes to me. Face to face. No intermediaries. His expression went serious. Non-negotiable. I already told her that. Imani searched his face. Found nothing but sincerity. Love. Hope. Okay, she whispered. Okay. Okay, we'll move in. Try this. Build a life here. She touched his face. But Thatcher, I need you to understand. I can't be the only one compromising. I can't be the only one sacrificing. If we're doing this, then we're equals. Partners. In everything. He covered her hand with his. I promise you. No more choosing work over family. No more letting anyone make you feel less than essential. You and our daughter come first. Always. The baby kicked, strong and insistent. She agrees, Imani said. Smart kid. He kissed her again, soft and sweet. Thank you. For giving me another chance. For letting me fix this. Don't make me regret it. I won't. I swear to you I won't. They stood in the nursery as the sun set fully, the room going dim except for the soft glow from the hallway. Thatcher's arms around her. Their daughter moving between them. A house full of hope and second chances waiting to become a home. And for the first time since March, Imani let herself believe in happy endings. Moving day should have been simple. Imani didn't own much, the cottage had come furnished, and most of what she'd accumulated in 6 months fit into a dozen boxes. But at 8 months pregnant, nothing was simple anymore. "I can do it myself," she said for the 4th time, watching Thatcher carefully carry a box marked books down the cottage steps. "You're 8 months pregnant. You're not carrying anything." He loaded it into his SUV. He traded the Aston Martin for something practical, family-friendly, with actual trunk space. Another change she was still processing. Sloane emerged from the cottage with another box. "He's right. Sit down before you pass out. It's like 80 degrees and you look like you're about to melt. It's November. It's Charleston. Same difference." Sloane set her box down, pushed Imani gently toward the porch chair. "Sit. Hydrate. Let us handle this." Imani sat, mostly because her back was killing her and her feet had disappeared somewhere around week 32. She watched Thatcher and Sloane work in surprising harmony, emptying her small cottage box by box. Her phone rang. Her mother. "Hey, Mama. Baby girl, how's the move going?" Patricia Brooks' voice was warm, slightly worried. She'd been worried a lot lately, ever since Imani had called 3 weeks ago and explained everything. The pregnancy. The divorce. Thatcher coming back. The new house. To her credit, Patricia had only said, "That man better treat you right this time or he'll answer to me." "It's going fine. Thatcher hired movers for the furniture. We're just doing the personal stuff." "And you're not lifting anything?" "Mama, I'm not lifting anything. I'm sitting on the porch like an invalid while everyone else works." "Good. You need to rest. Growing a baby is hard work." A pause. "You sure about this? Moving in with him? It's only been a month since you two started talking again." Imani watched Thatcher emerge from the cottage, saw him look around until he spotted her on the porch. The relief on his face was instant. Like he needed visual confirmation that she was okay, still there, still his. "I'm sure, Mama. Because you and that baby can always come stay with me in Colombia. I've got plenty of room." "I know. But I want to try this. We want to try this." Patricia was quiet for a moment. "He really loves you, doesn't he? I can hear it in your voice when you talk about him." "Yeah. He really does." "Then I'll save my lectures. For now." Her mother's voice softened. "I'm proud of you, baby. For leaving when you needed to. For coming back when it was right. That takes strength." After they hung up, Imani sat in the November heat and thought about strength. About the kind it took to walk away from someone you loved. About the different kind it took to let them back in. Thatcher appeared with water. "Drink this. You look flushed." "I'm fine. Humor me." He crouched beside her chair, studying her face with that intensity that used to make her nervous and now just made her feel seen. "How are you really feeling? We can take a break. Do this tomorrow. There's like 6 boxes left. We're almost done. I don't care if there's 1 box left. If you're tired." "I'm always tired. I'm 8 months pregnant in the South Carolina heat. Tired is my natural state." She took the water, drank. "But I'm okay. I promise." He didn't look convinced but stood, pressed a kiss to her forehead. 30 more minutes. Then we're done for today whether everything's moved or not." She watched him go back inside, listened to him and Sloane talking, something about furniture placement and which room should be the office. Planning their life together like it was simple. Like they hadn't spent 8 months broken. Maybe that was the secret. Maybe you just decided to stop being broken and started building something new. By evening, everything was moved. The cottage was empty, keys returned to the landlord. Sloane had left an hour ago with promises to visit next week. And Imani stood in the master bedroom of their new house. Their house, she was trying to make herself think of it that way, staring at boxes and feeling overwhelmed. "Hey." Thatcher appeared in the doorway. "You disappeared." "Just thinking." He crossed to her, wrapped his arms around her from behind, his hand settling on her belly. Their daughter immediately kicked against his palms. She always did that now, responded to his touch like she knew it was him. "What are you thinking about?" he asked quietly. "How weird this is. How normal it feels and how strange that is." She leaned back against him. 2 months ago, we were divorced. Now we're living together, having a baby in 6 weeks, planning a future like we never fell apart. Does it feel wrong? No. That's what's weird. It feels right. Like this is where we were always supposed to end up. She turned in his arms to face him. But I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop. For something to go wrong. Nothing's going to go wrong. You can't promise that. No. But I can promise that if something does go wrong, we'll face it together. No more running. No more making decisions alone. His hand cupped her face. We're a team now. Really a team. The baby kicked again, harder this time. Imani winced. You okay? Immediate concern flooded his face. She's just active tonight. Running out of room in there. She took his hand, moved it to where their daughter was currently using her ribs as a punching bag. Feel that? Yeah. Wonder crossed his face. It always did. Every single time he felt the baby move. She's strong. She's stubborn. Takes after both of us. God help us. But he was smiling. That soft smile he reserved for moments like this. Private moments when it was just them and their daughter moving between them. Thatcher. Yeah. Thank you. For not giving up. For fighting for us when I was too scared to fight for myself. His expression went serious. I'm the one who should be thanking you. You sacrificed everything to protect me from consequences I deserved to face. You carried this alone for months when you should have had me beside you from day one. He pressed his forehead to hers. I'll spend the rest of my life making that up to you. You don't have to. I want to. He pulled back enough to look at her properly. You're tired. When's the last time you ate? Lunch, I think. It's almost 8. Come on. He took her hand, led her downstairs to the kitchen. The movers had unpacked the basics, dishes in cabinets, utensils in drawers, the coffee maker prominently placed on the counter. Thatcher had clearly given specific instructions about what went where. Sit, he commanded, pulling out a chair at the kitchen island. I can help. You can sit and tell me what you want to eat. Imani sat, mostly because standing was getting harder these days. Watched him move around the kitchen with surprising competence. When had Thatcher Langford learned to cook? The man she'd married had barely known how to use the microwave. You're staring again, he said without turning around. You're cooking. Since when do you cook? Since I spent 8 months living alone and got tired of takeout. He pulled ingredients from the fridge. She hadn't even realized it was stocked. Plus I figured if I'm going to be a father, I should probably know how to make something other than reservations. What are you making? Nothing fancy. Pasta, grilled chicken, salad. Your doctor said you need protein and vegetables. You remember what my doctor said? I remember everything your doctor says. I take notes. He glanced at her. Is that weird? It's sweet. And it was. This man who used to spend 14-hour days at the office was now cooking dinner and taking notes at her OB appointments and building cribs. She watched him work, efficient and focused the way he was with everything. The baby shifted, a rolling movement that made Imani's whole belly move visibly. Thatcher saw it. Stopped what he was doing. Is she okay? Should I call the doctor? She's fine. Just stretching. Imani put a hand on her belly. Getting ready for her debut, I think. He crossed to her, knelt so he was eye level with her stomach. Hey, baby girl. You stay in there for 6 more weeks, okay? Your mom needs to rest, and I need time to finish reading all those parenting books. The baby kicked. I think that was a no, Imani said, laughing. She's definitely stubborn. He pressed a kiss to Imani's belly, then stood. 6 more weeks. That's all I'm asking. But as he went back to cooking, Imani felt a strange tightness low in her back. Probably just from moving all day. From the stress of packing and unpacking and starting this new chapter. Probably nothing. 3 hours later, Imani knew it wasn't nothing. She'd tried to ignore it. The tightness that came and went. The pressure. The feeling that something was different, changing. But when the pain wrapped around her back and into her belly, sharp enough to make her gasp, she couldn't ignore it anymore. Thatcher. He was in the bathroom brushing his teeth. Appeared immediately, toothbrush still in his mouth. What's wrong? I think I might be having contractions. The toothbrush clattered into the sink. What? I don't know. Maybe. They're probably Braxton Hicks. The fake ones. But they're getting stronger and another wave hit. She grabbed the dresser. Oh. We're going to the hospital. It's probably nothing. I'm only 34 weeks. Too early for. I don't care if it's probably nothing. We're going. Now. He was already moving, grabbing her hospital bag, packed 3 weeks ago because of course Thatcher had made sure they were prepared early. Can you walk? Yes. I can walk. I'm fine. This is probably, another contraction cut her off. Stronger this time. Unmistakable. That's it. We're going. He helped her down the stairs into the car, drove with one hand on her leg and his eyes flicking between the road and her face every 3 seconds. Breathe, he said. I am breathing. Slower. Like in the videos. What videos? The birthing class videos I've been watching on YouTube. Despite the pain, despite the fear, Imani laughed. You've been watching birthing videos? Dozens. I have a whole playlist. He squeezed her leg. We're almost there. Just hold on. The hospital appeared through the windshield, bright and imposing. Thatcher pulled up to the emergency entrance, was out of the car before she could unbuckle. The next hour was a blur. Wheelchairs and triage and monitors and doctors saying words like preterm labor and 34 weeks, and we need to stop these contractions. Imani lay in a hospital bed, hooked up to machines, and 4 in her arm pumping medication that was supposed to stop the labor. Thatcher sat beside her, holding her hand, looking more terrified than she'd ever seen him. She's okay, Imani said quietly. The monitors show she's okay. You're in labor. At 34 weeks. That's not okay. The doctor said this happens sometimes. The medication will work. They'll stop the contractions and we'll go home and... What if it doesn't work? His voice cracked. What if she comes too early? What if something happens to either of you? Imani squeezed his hand. Then we deal with it. Together. Like you said. I can't lose you. Either of you. I just got you back. I can't. Hey. She made him look at her. We're not going anywhere. You hear me? We're fighters. Both of us. And our daughter is stubborn as hell. She's not giving up, and neither am I. A nurse came in, checked the monitors, adjusted the 4. Contractions are slowing. That's good. We'll keep you overnight for observation, but it looks like the medication is working. After she left, Thatcher dropped his head to the edge of Imani's bed. His shoulders shook. Thatcher. I thought I was going to lose you again. Both of you. In one night. His voice was muffled against the blanket. I can't do this without you. Can't even imagine a world where you're not in it. Then it's a good thing you don't have to imagine it. She ran her fingers through his hair. We're here. We're okay. And in 6 weeks, if this baby cooperates, we're going to be parents. Together. He lifted his head. His eyes were red. I love you. So much it scares me. I love you too. She'd been saying it more lately. Letting herself feel it without fear. Even when you're watching birthing videos without telling me. That got a watery laugh. I wanted to be prepared. You're the most prepared person I know. I'm terrified. Me too. But we're terrified together. That's better than being terrified alone. He climbed into the hospital bed beside her, carefully, mindful of the monitors and 4, and wrapped his arms around her. They lay like that for a long time, listening to their daughter's heartbeat on the monitor, steady and strong. 6 more weeks, he whispered. That's all we need. 6 more weeks, Imani agreed. But even as she said it, she felt another tightening. Smaller this time. The medication working. But a warning nonetheless. Their daughter was ready. Whether they were or not. Imani made it 5 more weeks. Not the 6 Thatcher had requested, but close enough that the doctors were cautiously optimistic. 39 weeks. Full term. Their daughter apparently deciding that December 18th was the perfect day to make her entrance into the world. The contractions started at 3 a.m. Real ones this time, unmistakable. Imani lay in their bed, she'd finally stopped correcting herself, timing them on her phone while Thatcher slept beside her. She waited until they were 7 minutes apart before waking him. Thatcher. He was awake instantly, eyes finding hers in the dark. Is it time? I think so. He was out of bed before she finished speaking. Moving with controlled precision that would have been funny if she wasn't currently experiencing what felt like her entire midsection trying to turn inside out. Bags in the car. I'll get it. You just breathe. Should I call the doctor? I'm calling the doctor. Where's my phone? Thatcher. And your mom. We should call your mom. She wanted to know when. Thatcher. He stopped. Looked at her. Took a breath. I'm freaking out, he admitted. I know. But I need you to freak out productively. Another contraction hit. She breathed through it, the way they'd practiced in the birthing class he'd insisted they take. Help me up. We need to go. The drive to the hospital was nothing like the panicked emergency trip 5 weeks ago. This time Thatcher drove calmly, one hand on her leg, talking her through contractions with surprising steadiness. You're doing great. Just breathe. In through your nose. That's it. When did you get so calm? I'm not calm. I'm terrified. But one of us needs to keep it together, and you're busy growing a human being, so. He squeezed her leg gently. I've got you. Both of you. They checked into labor and delivery at 4:17 a.m. By 6, Imani was in a delivery room, monitors beeping, contractions coming every 3 minutes, and Thatcher beside her looking simultaneously terrified and determined. You should call your mother, Imani said between contractions. I'm not calling her. Thatcher, she's your mother. She should know she's about to become a grandmother. She lost the right to be part of this when she manipulated you into leaving. His jaw was set in that stubborn way she recognized. I meant what I said. Not until she apologizes to you. We can deal with that later. Right now, another contraction. Stronger. She gripped his hand hard enough to hurt. Breathe. You've got this. I'm right here. The hours blurred together. Pain and pressure and Thatcher's voice, steady and constant, talking her through every contraction. At some point her mother arrived, having driven 2 hours from Columbia the moment Imani called. Patricia took one look at her daughter and immediately shifted into the calm, capable presence Imani desperately needed. You're doing beautiful, baby girl. Just like I taught you. Breathe through it. I can't do this much longer. Yes, you can. You're the strongest person I know. Patricia smoothed Imani's hair back. And you've got good help. She glanced at Thatcher, who hadn't left Imani's side for 8 hours. He's not going anywhere. Damn right I'm not, Thatcher said. His tie was gone, sleeves rolled up, hair a disaster from Imani gripping it during contractions. He looked exhausted and terrified and completely present in a way that made Imani's heart ache. By 2 p.m., the doctor was saying words like fully dilated and time to push, and Imani was beyond words, beyond thought, just focused on breathing and pushing and getting through the next minute. You're almost there, Thatcher said, his forehead pressed to hers between contractions. So close. She's almost here. I can't. You can. You are. You're incredible. Just a little more. One more push. Then another. Then the doctor was saying, here she comes. And suddenly there was pressure and relief and a sound. A cry. Thin and strong and absolutely perfect. She's here, someone said. The doctor maybe. Imani couldn't focus on anything except the tiny squalling bundle being placed on her chest. Still connected by the cord, covered in vernix and blood and beautiful. So beautiful. Oh my God, Imani whispered. Oh my God. Thatcher was crying. actually crying, tears streaming down his face as he looked at their daughter. She's perfect. She's absolutely perfect. The baby squinted up at them, dark eyes unfocused but searching. Her hair was thick and dark, her skin a beautiful blend of both of them. Tiny fingers curled into fists. Imani touched her face with shaking hands. "Hi, baby girl. Hi. We've been waiting for you." The next hour was controlled chaos. Cutting the cord, delivering the placenta, cleaning and weighing the baby while Imani got stitched up. But through it all, Thatcher never left. Stood beside the warming table watching the nurses work, counting fingers and toes out loud like he needed confirmation their daughter was real. 7 pounds, 4 ounces, a nurse announced. 19 inches long. Completely healthy. Then she was back in Imani's arms, wrapped in a hospital blanket, making small snuffling sounds that Imani already knew she'd never forget. Patricia stood nearby, openly crying. "She's beautiful, baby. Just perfect. You want to hold your granddaughter, Mama?" "Oh, honey. I thought you'd never ask." Imani carefully transferred the baby to her mother's arms, watched Patricia's face transform with wonder. "Hello, sweet girl. I'm your grandma, and you have no idea how loved you are already." Patricia looked at Imani, at Thatcher. "What are you calling her?" Imani and Thatcher exchanged glances. They discussed names, made lists, argued good-naturedly about family names versus modern ones. But they'd never quite settled on anything. Until now. "Hope," Imani said softly. "Hope Patricia Langford." Patricia's breath caught. "You're naming her after me?" "After both of us," Thatcher added quietly. "Patricia for you. Hope for what she represents. What she gave us back." Because that's what their daughter was. Hope. A second chance. Proof that sometimes broken things could be mended into something even stronger. Patricia was fully crying now. "That's the most beautiful thing I've ever heard." 3 days later. Coming home from the hospital felt surreal. Thatcher drove at exactly the speed limit, both hands on the wheel, glancing in the rearview mirror every 30 seconds to check on Hope in her car seat. Imani sat in the back beside her, unable to look away from their daughter's sleeping face. "Is she supposed to be that quiet?" Thatcher asked. "She's sleeping. That's normal. But what if?" "She's fine. You checked her breathing 7 times before we left the hospital." "I'm going to check it again when we get home." Imani smiled despite her exhaustion. This man. This once untouchable tech billionaire who now couldn't drive 15 minutes without panicking about their sleeping baby. The house appeared through the trees, looking like home in a way it hadn't before. Thatcher helped her inside, carried Hope's car seat like it held the most precious cargo in the world. Which, Imani supposed, it did. "I'm going to put her in the nursery," he whispered. "She can sleep in our room for now. The bassinet's set up." "Right. Good. That's better anyway. So we can hear her." He placed the car seat gently beside their bed, then just stood there watching Hope sleep. Imani lowered herself onto the bed, everything still hurt, her body reminding her that growing and delivering a human being was no small feat. "You should rest," Thatcher said without looking away from Hope. "I will. In a minute. Your mom's coming by tomorrow, right? To help?" "Yeah. And Sloane wants to visit day after tomorrow. Bring food," she said. "Good. That's good." Finally he looked at Imani. Crossed to sit beside her on the bed. "How are you feeling?" "Sore. Tired. Overwhelmed." She leaned into him. "Happy. Really, really happy." His arm came around her shoulders. "Me too. Terrified, but happy." They sat like that, watching their daughter sleep. 3 days old and already the center of their universe. Imani thought about everything that had led to this moment. The pain. The separation. The months of carrying Hope alone. Victoria's manipulation. The divorce papers. The chance encounter on King Street that had started unraveling all their carefully constructed lies. "Do you think we would have found our way back?" she asked quietly. "If you hadn't seen me that day?" Thatcher was quiet for a moment. "I don't know. Maybe eventually. I never stopped loving you, never stopped thinking about you. but whether I would have been brave enough to reach out. He shook his head. I'm grateful I saw you when I did. Grateful I got to be here for the last 2 months. For today. Your mother still hasn't called. I know. You should reach out. Let her know she has a granddaughter. Marcus already told her. She sent flowers to the hospital. His jaw tightened. Expensive ones. With a card that said congratulations. Nothing else. Imani turned to look at him. And how do you feel about that? Angry. Sad. Mostly sad. He ran a hand through his hair. That's her granddaughter. Her only grandchild. And she's missing this because she's too proud to apologize. Maybe she doesn't know how. Then she needs to figure it out. Because I meant what I said. She's not part of this family until she can treat you with the respect you deserve. Hope made a small sound in her sleep. Both of them immediately looked over, checking. She settled, her tiny fists relaxing. She's okay, Thatcher whispered. She's perfect. He kissed Imani's temple. Just like her mother. Stop. Never. I'm going to spend the rest of my life telling you how incredible you are. You brought our daughter into the world. You carried her alone for months when you should have had me. You sacrificed everything for us. His voice was rough with emotion. I'm in awe of you, Imani. Completely in awe. She turned in his arms, kissed him softly. We made it. Through everything, we made it. We did. He rested his forehead against hers. And I promise you, I'm never taking this for granted. Never choosing work over family. Never letting anyone make you feel like you have to choose between me and what you need. I know. I trust you. Yeah. And she did. Completely. This man who'd shown up every day for 2 months. Who'd built them a home. Who'd driven her to every appointment, assembled cribs at midnight, learned to cook, watched YouTube birthing videos, and cried when their daughter was born. He'd proven himself. Over and over. Hope stirred again, her face scrunching up in that way that meant she was about to wake up. Hungry, probably. Everything with a newborn came back to hungry, wet, or tired. I'll get her, Thatcher said, already moving. You sure? Absolutely. He carefully lifted Hope from the car seat, cradling her with practiced confidence that still surprised Imani. 3 days and he was already a natural. Hey, baby girl. You hungry? Let's get you to mama. He handed Hope over, helped arrange pillows so Imani could feed her comfortably. Then he sat beside them, one hand on Imani's shoulder, watching their daughter nurse with an expression of pure wonder. I can't believe she's real, he said softly. I know what you mean. I keep thinking I'm going to wake up. That this is some dream. That I'm still in that empty house, still believing I'd lost everything. His hand tightened on Imani's shoulder. But then she makes that little sound, or you look at me, and I realize this is real. We're real. We're very real. Imani smiled up at him. And very sleep-deprived. That too. He kissed her forehead. But I wouldn't change any of it. Not 1 second. Hope finished nursing, her eyes already closing again. Thatcher took her, burped her with the gentle competence the hospital nurses had taught him, then just held her. Swaying slightly. Humming something that might have been a lullaby or might have been completely made up. Imani watched them, her daughter and the man she loved, and felt something shift and settle in her chest. All the fear, all the doubt, all the pain from the last year. It didn't disappear. But it mattered less now. Because this was what mattered. This moment. This family. This love that had survived everything thrown at it. I love you, she said. Thatcher looked over, Hope still in his arms. I love you too. Both of you. More than I knew it was possible to love anyone. Even when we're crying at 3 a.m.? Especially then. And when she's a teenager and hates us? I'll love her through that too. And you for surviving it with me. Imani laughed softly. We're going to be okay, aren't we? We're going to be better than okay. He came to sit beside her again, Hope cradled carefully. We're going to be happy. The 3 of us. In this house, building the life we should have had all along. No regrets. About us? About her? Never. He looked down at Hope's sleeping face. About how long it took me to get here. About the months you carried her alone? I'll regret that forever. But I'm going to spend every day making sure you both know how much you're loved. How much you're valued. How completely central you are to everything that matters. A knock on the front door interrupted them. Thatcher frowned. Expecting someone? No. Mama's not coming until tomorrow. He handed Hope carefully to Imani, went to answer it. She heard voices, Thatcher's firm and cold, then a woman's voice she recognized even though she hadn't heard it in 8 months. Victoria Langford. Imani's heart clenched. She looked down at Hope, peaceful and unaware of the complicated family drama surrounding her existence. Footsteps on the stairs. Then Thatcher appeared in the doorway, his face carefully neutral. My mother is here. She wants to talk to you. I told her she can leave if you're not ready. Imani took a breath. Looked at her daughter. Thought about second chances and forgiveness and the example she wanted to set for Hope. Let her come up. Thatcher's eyes searched hers. You sure? Yeah, I'm sure. He disappeared. Returned a minute later with Victoria Langford, who looked smaller somehow. Older. Her usual armor of perfect clothes and rigid posture slightly cracked. Victoria stopped in the doorway, her eyes finding Imani and Hope. For a long moment, she just stared. She's beautiful, Victoria said finally. Her voice was rough. Thank you. Victoria took a step into the room. Then another. I came to apologize. I should have come sooner. Should have done it the moment Thatcher told me what I'd done. But I was. She paused, searching for words. I was too proud. Too sure I'd been right. And I was wrong. Imani waited. I told myself I was protecting my son. Protecting the company, the family legacy. But what I was really doing was trying to control his life. Trying to make his decisions for him. Victoria's eyes met Imani's. And in doing so, I almost destroyed the best thing that ever happened to him. I almost cost him his family. Yes, Imani said quietly. You did. I'm sorry. Truly, deeply sorry. Victoria's voice cracked. What I said to you in March, about having to choose, about the baby being a complication, it was cruel. It was manipulative. It was wrong. You didn't deserve that. Neither did my son. And this child, she looked at Hope, her eyes filling. This child deserved to have her father from the beginning. I took that from all of you. Thatcher stood rigid nearby, watching his mother with an expression Imani couldn't quite read. I don't expect you to forgive me, Victoria continued. I don't deserve it. But I'm asking anyway. Because I've spent 3 weeks looking at the photos Marcus sent me of my granddaughter and realizing what a fool I've been. Choosing pride over family. Control over love. She took a shaking breath. I'm asking for a chance. To be part of her life. To try to be the grandmother she deserves instead of the controlling woman who almost destroyed her parents' marriage. Imani looked down at Hope. Thought about all the grandmothers who never got to meet their grandchildren. About the complexity of family. About the fact that people could change if they really wanted to. What's her name? Victoria asked softly. Hope Patricia Langford. Victoria's composure finally cracked. She put a hand over her mouth, tears spilling over. You named her Patricia. After Imani's mother. Yes, Imani said. After the grandmother who drove 2 hours in the middle of the night to be there. Who supported us without question. Who loves this baby unconditionally. The words landed like they were meant to. A reminder. A challenge. I understand. Victoria wiped her eyes, struggled to compose herself. And I deserve that. But I'm here now. Asking for a chance to be the grandmother Hope deserves. Asking to make amends. Imani looked at Thatcher. He gave the smallest nod. Your choice. I'll support whatever you decide. You can meet her, Imani said finally. But Victoria, I need you to understand something. If you ever try to manipulate us again, try to make me feel less than, try to come between me and Thatcher or interfere with how we raise our daughter. You're done. No second chances after this. I understand. And you need to apologize to Thatcher too. Really apologize. Not just for losing your temper or being overprotective. For what you actually did. Victoria turned to her son. Thatcher. I'm sorry. For manipulating you. For thinking I knew better than you what would make you happy. For almost costing you the family you deserved. Her voice broke. I'm so very sorry. He was quiet for a long moment. Then, I accept your apology. But Mom, things are different now. Imani and Hope come first. Always. If you can accept that, if you can treat Imani with the respect she deserves, then we can move forward. But on our terms. Not yours. I understand. And I accept. Completely. Victoria looked at Hope again. May I hold her? Imani looked down at her daughter. Hope's eyes were open now, unfocused but alert. Taking in the world with that serious expression newborns had. Okay, Imani said. But wash your hands first. Victoria actually smiled. A real smile. Of course. 5 minutes later, Imani watched Victoria Langford hold her granddaughter for the first time. Watched the older woman's face transform with wonder and love. Watched Thatcher standing nearby, guarded but hopeful. Family was complicated. Messy. Full of mistakes and second chances and the choice to forgive or hold grudges. Imani chose forgiveness. For Hope's sake. For Thatcher's sake. For her own sake. Because life was too short to spend it angry. Too precious to waste on pride. And their daughter deserved a family. A whole, complicated, imperfect, loving family. Victoria looked up, tears streaming down her face. Thank you. For this chance. I won't waste it. I know, Imani said. And surprisingly, she meant it. Later that night. After Victoria left, with promises to call before visiting and to respect boundaries and to be better, Imani and Thatcher lay in bed with Hope between them in her bassinet, both too wired to sleep despite their exhaustion. That was brave, Thatcher said quietly. Letting her in. It was the right thing. For Hope. For all of us. Still brave. He reached over, took her hand. You keep surprising me. Your capacity for forgiveness. For seeing the best in people. I learned from the best. She smiled at him in the darkness. You forgave me for lying to you. For running. For keeping our daughter from you. There was nothing to forgive. You did what you thought you had to do. And your mother did the same. In her twisted way, she thought she was protecting you. Doesn't make it right. No. But it makes it human. Imani squeezed his hand. We're all just doing our best. Making mistakes. Trying to fix them. That's what family is. Hope made a small sound. They both looked over, but she was still sleeping, just dreaming baby dreams. She's perfect, Thatcher whispered. She is. We made that. We did. I still can't believe it. Imani laughed softly. You're going to be saying that for the next 18 years. Probably longer. He shifted closer, careful not to disturb Hope. Thank you. For what? For giving me another chance. For letting me be here. For bringing our daughter into the world and being the most incredible mother already. His voice was thick with emotion. For loving me even when I didn't deserve it. You deserve it. You've always deserved it. You just needed to believe that yourself. They lay in comfortable silence, listening to Hope breathe, feeling the weight and wonder of their new reality settling over them. Hey, Thatcher said after a while. Yeah. Marry me. Imani's breath caught. What? Marry me. Again. For real this time. Not because of business arrangements or family pressure or timing. Just because I love you and I want to spend the rest of my life building this family with you. He propped himself up on one elbow, looking at her in the dim light. I know we're already legally married. The divorce is reversed if both parties agree within a year, but I want to do it right. I want to stand in front of everyone who matters and promise you forever. I want Hope to grow up knowing her parents chose each other. Every single day. Thatcher. You don't have to answer now. Think about it. But Imani, I've never been more sure of anything. You're it for me. You and hope. This family. This life. Everything else is just noise. Imani looked at him. This man who'd learned to cook and change diapers and apologize. Who'd walked away from billion-dollar celebrations to be with her. Who'd built them a home and fought for their family and cried when their daughter was born. Yes, she said. Yes. Yes, I'll marry you. Again. For real this time. She reached up, touched his face. Because you're it for me too. You always have been. He kissed her, gentle and sweet and full of promise. Hope stirred between them, making small sounds of protest at the movement. Sorry, baby girl, Thatcher whispered, settling back down. Just making promises to your mama. Imani smiled in the darkness. Closed her eyes. Let herself feel the happiness, the hope, the certainty that they'd made it through the worst and come out stronger. They'd been broken. They'd been apart. They'd made mistakes and hurt each other and almost lost everything. But they'd found their way back. And now they had forever to get it right. The garden at Magnolia Haven was in full bloom, flowers Imani had planted last winter now bursting with color. White chairs lined the lawn, filled with friends and family. Nothing like their first wedding, small and intimate instead of elaborate. Perfect instead of performative. Imani stood in the master bedroom, looking at herself in the mirror. The dress was simple, elegant, nothing like the designer gown Victoria had insisted on 5 years ago. This one was hers. Chosen because she loved it, not because it impressed anyone. Hope sat in a bouncer nearby, 6 months old and already showing signs of her father's intense focus and her mother's stubborn determination. She watched everything with serious dark eyes, occasionally babbling commentary that made no sense but sounded very important. You look beautiful, baby, Patricia said, adjusting Imani's veil. I'm nervous. Why? You've done this before. That's why I'm nervous. What if I mess it up again? Patricia turned her to face the mirror. Look at yourself. Really look. You're not the same woman who married him 5 years ago. You're stronger. Wiser. And he's not the same man. You've both grown up. Both learned what matters. Imani looked at her reflection. Her mother was right. She wasn't the same. She'd survived leaving the man she loved. Survived carrying hope alone. Survived rebuilding from broken pieces. And Thatcher had survived it too. Had changed, grown, become the partner she'd always needed him to be. It's time, Sloane said from the doorway, beautiful in her bridesmaid dress. You ready? Imani picked up Hope, held her daughter close. Yeah. I'm ready. The ceremony was outside, under the oak trees draped with Spanish moss. Thatcher stood at the end of the short aisle, Marcus beside him as best man. He was wearing a suit, but his tie was slightly crooked and his eyes were already wet. When he saw Imani walking toward him, Hope in her arms, Patricia beside her, his face transformed. Pure joy. Pure love. Pure certainty. She reached him. Handed Hope to Sloane, who'd somehow gotten drafted as both bridesmaid and baby holder. Took Thatcher's hands. Hi, he said softly. Hi. The officiant started talking, but Imani barely heard it. Just looked at Thatcher, at the man who'd fought for them, who'd chosen them every single day for the past 9 months. Then it was time for vows. Thatcher went first. Imani. 5 years ago, I married you because I loved you. But I didn't fully understand what that meant. What it required. How to put you first, how to fight for us, how to be the partner you deserved. His voice caught. I'm not going to make those same mistakes again. I promise you, in front of everyone we love, that I will choose you every day. Choose our family. Choose the life we're building together over anything else. You and Hope are my everything. And I'm going to spend the rest of my life proving it. Imani's turn. She took a shaking breath. Thatcher. I left you because I thought loving you meant sacrificing what we both needed. But love isn't sacrifice. It's partnership. It's choosing to build something together instead of protecting each other from imaginary disasters. She squeezed his hands. I'm choosing you today. Tomorrow. Forever. I'm choosing us. And I'm promising that I'll never run again. When things get hard, and they will, we face them together. No more lies. No more protecting each other from the truth. Just honesty and love and the determination to make this work. You may kiss your bride, the officiant said. Thatcher pulled her close, kissed her like they were the only two people in the world. Hope made a loud sound from Sloane's arms, approval or protest, hard to say, and everyone laughed. The reception was small, intimate. Dancing on the lawn. Dinner under string lights. Toasts from Marcus and Sloane and Patricia. Even Victoria, who stood and said simply, "To second chances. And to the family that taught me what really matters." Later, as the sun set and guests mingled, Imani and Thatcher stood by the creek, Hope between them in Thatcher's arms. "We did it," Imani said. "We did. Think we'll make it this time?" He looked at her, this man she'd loved and lost and found again. "I know we will. Because we're not the same people we were. We've learned. We've grown. And we have her." He looked down at Hope, who was trying to grab his nose. "We have everything that matters." Imani leaned into him, watched their daughter, felt the warmth of the setting sun and the certainty of love that had survived everything. They'd been broken. They'd been lost. They'd made every mistake possible. But they'd found their way back to each other. And that, Imani thought, was the only ending that mattered. Hope. Love. Family. Forever. Thank you for watching this story to the end. If you enjoyed this story, you will surely love the next one. It's as crazier and more intriguing as you can ever imagine. So do check it out. Click on the image showing on your screen right now to watch the next one.